The following marketing information and discussion is provided for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as professional guidance or consultancy. You should find an agency for that. Comexis is a digital marketing agency, so feel free to hire us. But otherwise, just enjoy the show.
Hello everyone, welcome to The Buyer's Journey by Comexis, a discussion-based podcast on the ever-changing marketing landscape. I'm Matthew McGordy, the social media content producer here at Comexis.
I am Len Ward, the managing partner at Comexis.
So today is Tuesday, and on Tuesday we talk about the consideration phase of the buyer's journey. And the consideration phase is when somebody has already become aware of your product or service and is now looking more deeply into that product or service, or they have become aware of a problem that they're having and they need to now research different solutions for that problem. And one big thing that we talk a lot about with the consideration phase is Google, because when you are typically making a Google search, well, if you're typically making a search, you're probably making it on Google, unless you're looking on Amazon or something like that. But one big thing when we talk about Google is different algorithm updates that they do throughout the year. So Google basically every day is making very small changes to the algorithm that appears when you make a search. Basically determines what pops up when you are making a Google search. But a couple times a year, about 2 or 3, 4 times, they make really big, broad core algorithm updates that drastically shift how the Google algorithm works. And recently they tweeted out that they were going to be making a core algorithm update. This is the first time we've ever been told in advance that they were going to be making a core algorithm update. And then a couple days ago, it finally went live and has been making a bunch of changes. So Barry Schwartz on Search Engine Land has compiled some fantastic data about initial findings from this core algorithm update. And one thing that I want to have everybody keep in mind is that core algorithm updates do take a really long time to sort of completely go through all of the rollout changes that they have. Google said it can take anywhere from 1 day for smaller changes to multiple weeks. So there's no guarantee that all of this data is going to be exactly correct or not changing in any way, but these are just initial findings, and obviously people will be making more and more findings and gathering more data as the rollout continues. So Barry Schwartz spoke to Systrix, Rank Ranger, Searchmetrics, and Moz to get some data providers and data sets of Google rankings. So I'll have this article linked in the blog description. We're going to touch on a couple different pieces of data, but not all of it. So definitely check out Barry Schwartz's article if you want to see some more. And also, Barry Schwartz points out that the Google index is really massive, so a lot of these tools are only seeing snippets of it. Would not be possible to look at everything that Google has, so just keep that in mind as well. So Systrix wrote a blog post sharing the data from the past couple days. They said, quote, "Today's data clearly shows the impact of the core update in the visibility index of the toolbox. You can see changes from June 5th to June 6th. So June 6th is when the update went live, and the bar graph, well, not the graph, but the graph will be in the blog description, but you can see a nice little line that's kind of plateauing, and then all of a sudden on June 6th, it spikes way up, which basically means it's showing that there's been some amount of change in different kinds of websites. So Steve Payne from Systrix said, quote, "We are seeing many YMYL, which is Your Money, Your Life websites, get some nice boosts, but there are also classical news sites, retail, and many others. It appears that this Google Core update is broader than the last updates. Importantly, there are significant changes after just 24 hours, which means we can expect more as the week goes." And then Systrix, Steve Payne from Systrix said that they would continue to update as we go. The next is a chart from Rank Ranger. Again, you'll be able to see this in the blog description. It shows how much rank fluctuations have been changing for different for different industries. So we have travel, retail, health, finance, and gambling. So when they did their testing, the first result, travel was at 8%, retail was at 2%, health was at 11%, finance was at 9%, and gambling was at 21%. I'm not going to go through second, third, et cetera, but I will go to when we looked at the top 3 results. It was 22%. It was a 22% from 8 for travel. Retail went from 2 to 14. Health from 11 to 35. Finance 9 to 41, and gambling 21 to 55. And then when we look at top 10, we're going from 8% to 46 for travel, 2 to 33 for retail, for health 11 to 78, finance 9 to 77, and for gambling 21 to 159. So what this means, what this chart means, is that it's basically the instability of the ranking for these industries. So an increase is actually bad, because it shows you're being shown perhaps a little bit more, but your rankings are staying way less consistent. So we have a quote from Morty Oberstein from Rank Ranger. It said, "The gambling niche was hit hard, as were the health and finance niches, though the update is impactful across the board. And according to their data, it seems that while many sites fluctuated up and down, the search results page tended not to move a massive number of positions." There's also some data from Searchmetrics. Marcus Tober from Searchmetrics told Schwartz that while he's still working on data, the preliminary analysis is that parts of the core update from March were reverted. He said that this was not systematic, though it seems that Google changed some factors from brand authority too much in March, and this is what reverted, especially in the medical space like WebMD or verywellhealth.com that lost some of their visibility, have now gained it back since then. But in other areas like UGC or Q&A, he is not seeing the same pattern of rollback. And again, as I mentioned before, the Google update is still rolling out, so these are not definitive numbers. But it looks like travel, retail, health, finance, and gambling are getting hit pretty hard in terms of their rankings just not being as stable as we had once seen. So Len, what do you think about this?
I mean, right out of the gate, take away health. Some of the leading spending companies in paid digital is travel, retail, finance, gambling. Google did not make their numbers last quarter. So I understand what they're trying to do with the Google update, but I guess because I'm a seasoned, salty individual, I don't hate Google. Google has helped me build an agency. It's helped a lot of my clients make a lot of money. I advertise on it, but I do begin to question core algorithm updates after you come in with stock numbers that are not good, which any good advertiser will tell you, the minute you lose rankings on SEO, what do you immediately have to do? You have to create the pay-per-click, which generates more money. So I understand why they're doing it. I know that they're trying to make the search results better. So I think in theory what they're trying to do is right. But the reality situation, there's an ulterior motive and they're trying to make money.
So you're suggesting, just to clarify, you're suggesting that this core algorithm update, we've seen gambling, finance, health, retail, travel have more inconsistent rankings, and the solution to that therefore would be paying Google to make sure you get into the top 3 ad placements, basically.
Correct,
right?
making sure that you're increasing your pay-per-click dollars. So regarding the SEO for the consideration phase, it's one of the most important aspects of the consideration phase. Until further notice, SEO will send the most qualified traffic to your website via SEO. I do believe we're at the stage of where SEO is completely at the mountaintop. And I do believe the only way we can go from SEO is down from now. And again, I always preface that on this podcast and with clients. You have to understand, I started as a freelance SEO person. SEO is in my core. I taught myself it when I ran an e-com company. I've literally been doing SEO for well over 15 years now, so I'm always rooting for SEO. But I am a realist in that I do believe SEO is beginning to pull back. When you're seeing fluctuations like this, you immediately have to start allocating money over to the paid, whether it be Google Search or Facebook, more like Google Paid for something like this. But it's frustrating to a lot of people because when they build out their marketing models, they may say, well, SEO has to generate me 6,500 visitors a month because I know 6,500 visitors is going to turn into 100 leads. Every time we get 100 leads, we now get 25 conversions. So we're hitting all of our LTV and CPC numbers. So this is the kind of thing that makes an SEO person go crazy or a marketing person go crazy. But again, I'd have to look at it more in regards to what's going on. But I basically tell people, the same thing about SEO. Make sure your page loads fast. make sure the time on site is staying strong, because that's one of the most important ranking measures out there, is that if somebody's asking Google a question, they get to your site, is your site giving them an answer, which is longer time on site, page depth as well. Are they on your site? Are they going to different pages? Are they engaged with it? Stick with the fundamentals of SEO. Stop playing around with trying to manipulate the search engine. And when these algorithms happen, you just allocate your dollars over to pay-per-click. Once things settle down, see what happens, fix what you need to fix on SEO, and then go back to it. But it's good, because I think the industry now has matured, where it's funny, because 5-6 years ago when they were rolling out updates, I mean, everybody panicked. I mean, I was around for the Florida update, the Penguin update, the Panda update. I mean, it's like when the Penguin happened, it was like, everybody's building was burning down. So it's funny to see these algorithms now, I guess now that we're involved in this more, where it's like, man, all right, well, we'll just overcome it. We'll just do pay-per-click until they figure it out. So, but it's interesting to see it. But I understand why a lot of people would get frustrated, especially, and I don't want to ramble on too long, the medical industry, because the medical industry relies very heavily on blogs, long-form content, and those type of searches historically do really, really well in SEO. So if there's a dip there and websites are really used to having that really good amount of traffic, it's concerning when a core update happens and trying to figure out what's going on, because you have all this valuable content that can help people out with what they're looking for. And when that content's not readily available, number one, obviously, you're losing visitors. Number two, you're losing business. So out of all of this, the ones that do really rely heavy is healthcare. I found it funny, gambling. I mean, how much SEO can you do for gambling?
I can't imagine it's much. But I mean, hey, for all you know.
Yeah, so interesting. But, okay.
Well, we're going to be keeping an eye out on any additional changes as the rollout continues. Again, this just happened on June 6th, and it is today, June 10th. So these are, again, just initial numbers, but as we become more aware of how this core algorithm update has shaked things up, we will have another episode, and we'll talk all about it then. That's all for today's episode of The Buyer's Journey. Check us out on Comexis.com, YouTube, and anywhere you get your podcast, and follow us on Twitter at @buyers_journey. Thanks for tuning in.